Hi, my name is Joshua Shi. I'm a current sophomore at UC Berkeley, and I just completed my Degree A, Degree B for organic chemistry, and I just wanted to share some thoughts on this class. I had Professor Marsden for both sections Degree A, Degree B. I took Degree A during summer 23 semester, and then I took Degree B during the fall 23 semester. So kind of back to back. And I just wanted to go over kind of some tips for the class in general of how he teaches it, and kind of some differences between taking it over summer and taking it over regular semesters. So, yeah, Degree A, Chemistry Degree B, they're both classes in organic chemistry. The first one, Degree A, is more of basics of organic chemistry, just learning like fundamentals such as resonance, molecular orbitals. And then in Degree B, we kind of go into more detailed mechanisms for more special molecules such as the carbonyls. And yeah, Degree A, both of these classes are basically graded the same. It's the same type of syllabus. It's just Degree A for some people is harder because it's the first time they're being exposed to organic chemistry, so then they have to kind of learn the basics, and then as a result, once they have the basics down from Degree A, Degree B seems a bit simpler because the mechanisms are just building off of what we learn in Degree A. So the syllabus is, again, the content, specifics of what you learn are going to be different, but basically, grading wise, how the classes run is the same way. In both Degree A, Degree B, you're going to have lectures taught by Professor Marsden. He's going to record those lectures, but it's important that you go in person so you can actually absorb the material while he's teaching it, and also have the ability to ask questions real time. But going over syllabus, there is a kind of textbook that he does recommend for both semesters, but I didn't use it, and it's I don't think he really references it that much. He also really recommends having a molecular modeling kit. It's helpful to be able to visualize these molecules he's talking about in 3D, especially when you get to stereochemistry, when you have to deal with dashing and wedging. Unless you can really visualize things in your mind, it's probably better to have the molecular kit so you can kind of build the molecule, just rotate it around, see kind of what direction each of the functional groups are pointing towards. So it's not really required, but it's pretty helpful to have a molecular modeling kit. The homework he gives out is in the form of PDF, so either you'll have a printer that you can print it and write it on and then submit to Gradescope, or if you have a tablet like my current device, then you can just write on it. Yeah. Grading wise, there's kind of different sections he's going to grade you off of. First off, we have the normal kind of homework, which is what he calls post-lecture worksheets. These are kind of PDF worksheets that he'll give out the day of lecture, and then you'll have that day to complete it. They're usually 1 to 2 pages. Sometimes they can be much longer if there's a lot of material that he has to go over. But each one is graded out of 5 points. And there's a lot of post-lecture worksheets, right? But he only takes a maximum of 125 points. So even if you don't do well on some of the homeworks, as long as you have over 125, you're still going to get the full points for this section. We'll go more into detail about how those post-lecture worksheets work. The next one is kind of discussion. So in both Degree A, Degree B, no matter whether you're summer or spring semester, he's going to hold some form of discussion section, and during the discussions, it's usually just going over problems related to the material he's covered for that week. And at the end of the discussion, he'll ask you to kind of submit a copy of your notes or whatever you were doing that day. Those are pretty easy, 5 points each, and then, yeah. Then we have weekly quizzes. These are quizzes kind of administered weekly. And they're meant to kind of keep you on track with material. The quizzes are around 10 minutes each. Sometimes he'll give extra time, but that's kind of rare. And you'll have it's always 1 page of just questions to do. The thing about quizzes is that sometimes it seems like a very low amount of time for the kind of amount of questions he's putting onto the page. If you studied really well, that might not be a problem. But if you only did a bit of studying or you don't fully grasp the material, it can be kind of challenging. The good thing though is that I think he's doing around 12, 13 quizzes each semester. You can drop like 2 or 3 because he'll only take the best 10 quizzes. So even if you like don't do well on some of the quizzes, as long as you have a good enough average for those best 10, then it's okay. Then we have exams. There's 2 midterms, 1 final. The midterms, they're both out of 150, I think, yeah, and then the final is 225. So these are kind of how the grading sections are cut off, for a total of 850 points. But the thing is, most of these assignments, except for discussion attendance, you can earn over 100% on. Most of the post-lecture worksheets, right, I said it's out of 5. There's been times I've seen it go up all the way to 9. Is it this? No. Yeah, like here, PLWS 26, he graded that out of 9. So there's many ways you can get extra credit normally. Like most, as you can see, most of these post-lecture worksheets at the end were out of 5, but usually they'll be out of 6 or sometimes 5.5. So if you do well on these assignments, you can like kind of add more points. The same thing on the midterms. If you go to exam 1, right, it's supposed to be out of 150. So on exam 1 here, he's put 9 extra points on the exam, so you can score higher than that. Exam 2, same thing. It was out of 150, but he has 160 available points. So if you get, if you get the 10 points buffer, then it also helps for your grade. Final, I think sometimes he'll give a lot more extra points on the final. So it's out of 225, there's 20 extra points there. And yeah. Quizzes, you can also see sometimes they're not out of 15, they're a bit higher, 16, 17. Again, those things, those extra points can really help you. Just overall, there's a lot of places you can get kind of extra credit points, and it might be able to give you like extra points so you can boost your grade over 100%, or it might just help you, kind of on those border grades. And kind of to help with that is he gives out a grade calculator. It's like a spreadsheet, such as this one, and it'll have kind of the assignment name. You can put in whatever score you have, and then it goes through every assignment basically. And then here, I should show my copy. It'll automatically populate like this section with whatever scores you've put in. So you get the average of your post-lecture worksheets, you get your quiz average, like the points out of 125 for post-lecture worksheets, and then your quiz, the exam scores, and etc. And these formulas will take into account like what he's going to drop. Like for example, best 10 quizzes, you can see it's like taking the sum of all your quizzes and just subtracting the worst ones. Right. So back to syllabus. Yeah, we went over post-lecture worksheets, we went over quizzes, exams. Right. So after each exam, exam 1 and 2, which is midterm 1 and midterm 2, you'll have the option to kind of fill out this analysis handout. The analyses, they're kind of ways for you to mainly review what you got wrong, kind of truly understand why you got it wrong, but then also he'll give back some points for completing the assignment. This is not the analysis, hold on. I'm pulling out one of my analyses. Okay, let's just look at this one. Yeah, so here This analysis would give back 15% of points lost. So let's say you get, I don't know, 20 points wrong, you'll get 15% of those 20 points back to your exam grade. But basically what you're going to do is go through, figure out what went wrong, and then kind of just say why you got it wrong, how you're going to improve, and kind of you can cite which discussion, which lecture you got this information from. And that's how exam analysis works. So that's yet another way to get like more points. Yeah. Here are the course grade cutoffs. It's not very clear whether he changes these cutoffs, but A minus ranges from 85 to 100. I think on the spreadsheet itself he does split it. So yeah, so A minus is 85 to 89. A is 90 to 100. And then the rest of the cutoffs are also there. You can look at them. For an A plus in the class, it might seem difficult because it's over 100, but again, if you can get a lot of these extra credit points that he's putting into the assignments, then you might be able to go over 100% in the class. Yeah. Though lecture attendance isn't a required portion of the class, and he's recording the lectures, you can just watch it on B courses later on. It's really important for you to actually attend, I think, because, I mean, at least for me, attending the lectures made me more focused on the material he's covering rather than like watching it later and sometimes not having enough time to really watch for it. And then a lot of people will ask questions during class, and it's very good to do so because then you have your doubts just cleared up on spot. Alright. And then I think one other thing to note on the syllabus is the homework. So he classifies homework differently from post-lecture worksheets. Homework is kind of these extra assignments that he'll just post onto like files. So you go to files, there will be a section titled homework. Yeah, but basically these are like very long assignments that you can work on yourself. He'll post the answer keys either like the same time as the homework, or maybe sometimes a few weeks later, but you can work through these. They're just more practice on the material he's covered. Some of them are very difficult, like more difficult than exams, but it's really good practice. So this one's about molecular orbitals, right? Yeah. I find that for the weekly quizzes, the best way to really prepare for them is to do these optional homework problems. Sometimes, if Professor Marsden is kind of lazy enough, he'll actually reuse some of the homework questions. Like I remember in 3A summer, one of our quizzes was literally the old exam question. He put that as like the entire second problem on that quiz. So, good to look through whatever material he's published on the B courses because all of them will help you prepare for the material. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of how classes are run. But a bit about Professor Marsden himself. He's very nice. Like he's very interactive with his students. I think it's very clear he wants you all to succeed. He's putting like how the class is structured is meant for you to actually pass the class rather than fail it. His office hours are very nice in that like a lot of people will go, but usually you'll learn a lot from either the questions they're asking or whatever Professor Marsden says himself. His lectures are, again, they're very interactive. He'll often make jokes with the students about what he's teaching. And overall, it's a very like relaxing environment to go to. Like sometimes it might seem like a lot, or you're learning something completely new, and then the entire like Pimental is filled with other students. But it's a very good like experience going to lecture with Professor Marsden.